Welcome to the Trinisphere with Timmy, Johnny, and Spike Battle, where all things EDH here with your host. I've made some mistakes. Juan the Timmy, on a new segment I'm going to call Timmy Tune-Ups, where we go back on all decks we've made, look back at them, see what we've done wrong, and try to tune them up and make them better than what they were. But first, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss out on any new Trinisphere content. Now on to the deck tech. Alright, we're going to be doing Licia Sanguine Tribune. I took a crack at this on an old episode where we were doing Battle of the Bolas Citadels, and it did not go well. We kind of lost. So rehash on Licia Sanguine Tribune. It's a 5 mana red, white, black, legendary creature vampire soldier. Licia Sanguine Tribune's cost is 1 less to cast for each 1 life you gain this turn. First strike, lifelink, pay 5 life, put 3 +1/+1 counters on Licia, activate this ability only on your turn, only once each turn. I fell in the trap of trying to reduce Licia Sanguine Tribune by playing bad cards that gain you life, so we're gonna fix that, cut that out, and play good cards that, by the way, gain you life. And then we'll play some cards that make us lose life, but that's fine, because we're gonna be gaining life passively, so you know it all just works out. But to start things off, let's start with the ramp. You know we're Mardu, so we're playing that good old rock package of Soul Ring, Wayfarer's Bauble, Arcane Signet, Boros Signet, Orzhov Signet, Rakdos Signet, Talisman of Conviction, Talisman of Hierarchy, and Smothering Tide. All of them just gain you ramp one way or another. Some of these help you pay life, but that's going to help with another card we're playing further down the list. And that'll be it for our ramp section. Now we move on to our card draw section. We have Signing Blood and Night Twister, which are essentially the same card. You draw 2 cards and you lose 2 life. And Signing Blood says target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. I found the problem with these two, which isn't really a problem much, is like too much value. If you do these on turn 2, you end up having to discard a card unless you dumped your hand out a bit, so that kind of blows. But late game, these are great to draw. Then we have Read the Bone, Scry 2, draw 2 cards, you lose 2 life. Well of Lost Dreams. This card's a banger in this deck. Whenever you gain life, you may pay X where X is less than or equal to the amount of life you gained if you do draw X cards. This is an artifact, 4 mana. That's a fine investment, because the second you hit with your commander once and lifelink just for 4, pay 4, draw 4 is very much on rate, and if you're out of gas or you have nothing in hand, it gets you right back in the game. Somewhat of a win con. Bolas' Citadel. Oh my god, this card, every time you play it, you gain so much aggression, but it's all fine because they just remove it and you just got the value off of it unless you hit a land, and if you hit a land, that's just how it is. Sucks. Bolas' Citadel, 3 mana, black, 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 legendary artifact. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may play the top card of your library. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its converted mana cost rather than pay its mana cost. Fun fact, whenever you cast a split spell with Bolas' Citadel, you only have to pay life equal to the casting cost of the side you cast, because it makes you cast the card. You don't just rip it off. It's not equal to the CMC of the card. And then last ability on Bolas' Citadel, tap, sacrifice 10 online permanents, each opponent loses 10 life. You don't usually do this, but it occasionally kills people, which is good enough for me. Now onto equipment, we got ourselves Lightning Greaves. The Crypt Creature has Haste and Shroud, equipped for 0. Swiftfoot Boots, same as Lightning Greaves, except it gives Hexproof and is equip cost of 1. We got ourselves Sword of Sinew and Steel, 3 mana. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from black and from red, which are usually good removal colors, and protection from red is pretty good for the board wipes red has, since it'll prevent the damage. And whenever a equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, destroy up to 1 target planeswalker and up to 1 target artifact. I think this is a sleeper in Commander just for the fact it hits artifacts, and then you don't have to deal with having to kill a stupid planeswalker. We have Whisper Silk Cloak, 3 mana, equipped creatures unblockable and can't be the target of spells or abilities, equip cost of 2. And then last but not least, our equipment spell, Batterskull, which is really just a 5 mana 4/4 with Vigilance and Lifelink. It has Living Weapon. When it comes to play, you make a 0/0 germ. It automatically equips to the germ, and you can pay 3 mana to return Batterskull to its owner's hand with a quick cost of 5. Now on to our random life gain. First on the list is Blind Obedience. 1 and a white, it's an enchantment. With Extort, whenever you cast a spell, you may pay white or black. If you do, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain that much life. Artifacts and creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. This is sometimes really backbreaking. It stops some creature combos, and this allows you to drain your opponents out if you can't really like attack them by casting spells. We have Sorin Vengeful Bloodlord, 2 white black. As long as it's your turn, creatures and planeswalkers you control have lifelink. +2, Soren's Vengeful Bloodlord deals 1 damage to target player or planeswalker. And then neg X, return target creature card with CMC cost X from your graveyard to the battlefield. That creature is a vampire in addition to its other types. Soren's pretty great. Nobody actually tends to remove him just for the fact that getting hit for 1 isn't too relevant to you. The neg X on Soren can sometimes bring back your commander since nobody wants to hit him, or it can just get back a little idiot, but a little idiot's a great blocker and can hold swords very well. And on top of that, just giving all your creatures lifelink passively is pretty great also. Now on to Nixilis of the Black Oath. 3 mana black. +2, each opponent loses 1 life, you gain life equal to the life loss this way. Neg 2, put a 5/5 black demon creature token when flying onto the battlefield, you lose 2 life. Neg 8, you gain an emblem with 1 in the black, sacrifice a creature, you gain X life and draw X cards, where X is the sacrifice creature's power. Omnix is pretty great on an empty board. If there's nothing out and you just cast them, I suggest negging 2 just to get your flyer, so you at least get some value off of it if it were to die to some removal spell or something. On your next turn, you could tick up, ping everybody for 3, your commander now costs only 5 mana, you cast your commander, and then you have a 5/5 and your commander out, and that's a pretty good position to be in. And now onto one of my favorite cards in this deck, we have Revival Revenge. Revival is hybrid white-black. Return target creature card with CMC cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, which isn't not relevant surprisingly enough. And then Revenge, 4 mana white-black, double your life total, target opponent loses half their life total rounded up. Man, if you're on the verge of dying, you're at 10, you're at 20, your opponent's at 40, or even if you're about to be out this game, it feels so good just to be like, lose half your life, I'll go up to 2, I'll see you in hell. Card's also great if your commanders die just a bunch of times, reduce the cost all the way to 0 in most cases, and especially if you cast this off of Bolas the Citadel, it lets you just gas up to keep going and not really worry about dying off of it. Alright, that's the end of that section. Now on to some of the real life thing, which is on these creatures. We have 1 white mana Serra Ascendant, lifelink 1/1. As long as you have 30 or more life, Serra Ascendant gets +5/+5 and has flying. This card is busted in Commander. It is a 1 mana 6/6. I'm surprised it is legal at times, and god I'm happy it is. This is the first thing that gets blown on removal every time it comes out of play on 1, and there's no other way I'd like it. Then we have Lone Rider, a personal pet card. It's a 1 white, 1/1. First strike lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 more life this turn, transform Lone Rider into it that rides as 1. It is a first strike trampling lifelink 4/4. It's rare where it doesn't flip, but the times where it don't, it feels real bad as a 2 mana 1/1. But man, this is just such a cool card. Then we have Krenko Tin Street Kingpin, 2 in a red. Whenever Krenko Tin Street Kingpin attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Then create a number of 1/1 red goblin creature tokens equal to Krenko's power. It is a 1/2. This is in the deck just so you have fodder for blocking, or when you run out of creatures, you just need to kind of rebuild, or you just need to like a wall of idiots to just overrun your opponents with. Krenko also holds a sword very well, or getting any form of pump, because that just makes more goblins for you to block or attack with. We have Kunaros, Hound of Aethros, a 1 white-black legendary creature hound, Vigilance Menace lifelink. Creature cards in graveyards can't enter the battlefield, and players can't cast spells from graveyards. Shuts down graveyard decks. It affects us a little bit, but not enough where it's relevant. And if anything, we'll just run Keranos down and be like, are you gonna block it or just keep taking 3? At a certain point, you're gonna die, and I just keep gaining life. Then we have Murderous Rider, which is an adventure card, which has 1 black, instant adventure, swift end. Destroy target creature or planeswalker, you lose 2 life. Then he goes on an adventure. From there, you can play 1 black, and cast a lifelink zombie knight. When Murderous Rider dies, put it on the bottom of its owner's library. Then we have Timna the Weaver, CDH staple, 1 white-black, legendary creature human cleric, with lifelink. At the beginning of your post-combat main phase, you may pay X life, where X is the number of opponents that were dealt combat damage this turn if you do draw X cards. Just good draw power, and it incentivizes you to start hitting everybody, which is always great in my book. Twilight Prophet, 2 black, creature vampire clerics, flying, ascend. If you have 10 or more permanents, you get the City's Blessing. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have the City's Blessing, reveal the top card of your library and put it into your hand. Each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is that card's CMC cost. Helps you cast your commander, it's an extra draw, you drain your opponents, it tends to die. The only thing I noticed is that there may not be enough permanents in play under your control that it doesn't turn on all the time. Now we're on to Blood Baron of Viscopa, 3 mana white-black, lifelink protection from white and from black. This card's a house. You don't realize how much removal is actually in those 2 colors until you put it into play, and everyone's like, ooh, I can't deal with that. As long as you have 30 more life and an opponent has 10 or less life, Blood Baron of Viscopa gets +6/+6 and has flying. It's put me in a few awkward situations where I'm like, I can't kill you, I need this to still be a 10/10 as I kill the rest of these opponents now. Greven Predator Captain, 3 black red menace. Greven Predator Captain gets +X/+0, where X is the amount of life you've lost this turn. Whenever Greven attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, you draw cards equal to that creature's power and you lose life equal to that creature's toughness. I'm on the verge of cutting this card just for the fact I don't have enough fodder to sack to Greven, but Greven alone just being a menace 5/5 whenever you pay life getting bigger and since our commander helps us pay 5 life as a 10/5, it still earned its spot. We have Lyra Dawnbringer, 3 white, legendary creature angel, flying, first strike, lifelink. Other angels you control get +1/+1 and have lifelink. Also a 5/5, just a very efficient creature in the deck. Then we have Vona, Butcher of Magan, 3 white-black, legendary creature, vampire knight, vigilance, lifelink, tap, pay 7 life, destroy target non-land permanent, activate this ability only during your turn. This card's great. You just get to blow up whatever. You don't really care about your life total, and if you do, Greven gets pumped if he's in play. So we're good there. And now on to removal. Fawn of Agonies, 1 black mana. It's an enchantment. Whenever you pay life, put that many blood counters on Fawn of Agonies. 1 in a black, remove 4 blood counters. Fawn of Agony destroys target creature. Fawn of Agonies will surprisingly get out of hand, out of nowhere, and just start destroying everything on board. It's helped me win a few games. The Talismans help you lose life. Some of our lands help us lose life. A lot of our creatures help us lose life. This card's great in the deck. Good old Swords of Plowshares, 1 white. Target creature is removed from the game entirely. I have the old version, my bad. Creature's controller gains life points equal to the creature's power. Once in a while, you're dying. You just path your commander, that's big, you recast it, you gain the life. Vandal Blast, destroy target artifact you don't control. Overlord, 4 in a red, destroy each artifact you don't control. Hide and Seek, hide side, red and a white, put target artifact or enchantment on the bottom of its owner's library, it's an instant. Seek, it's almost like a ritual for this deck, but also shafts your opponent sometimes. White and a black, instant, search target opponent's library for a card, remove that card from the game. You gain life equal to its converted mana cost, then that player shuffles his or her library. It's pretty funny when your opponent goes to tutor and you're like, in response, I would like to tutor your deck and remove something from it. Hopefully it's what you were going for. Winds of Abandon, 1 white, sorcery, exile target creature you don't control. For each creature exiled this way, its controller searches their library for a basic land card. Those players put those cards onto the battlefield tap, then shuffle their libraries. Overlord, 4 white. This card's a house. I've won plenty of games just from exiling all the creatures. Who cares that they get basics when you could just swing in for lethal, clear the battlefield without losing any of your creatures. Hero's Downfall, 1 black, instant, destroy target creature or planeswalker. Mortify, 1 white, instant, destroy target creature or enchantment. Vindicate, 1 white, destroy target permanent. Utter End, 2 white, exile target non-land permanent. Heliod's Intervention, X white. This card's great. All the interventions are great. Destroy X target artifacts and or enchantments. Target player gains twice X life. It saves you from dying. It removes plenty of problem cards from the board. Just an all-around great card. Onto the board white type effects. We have Chandra's Ignition. If you're about to die and you have a lifelinker on board, you pray to God they don't have removal, and you target it with Chandra's Ignition, and you just hit everything for whatever the power is, and hopefully get back in this game, and or win the game. And board wipe, does everything. The only thing to this card though is it has like high blowout potential, just for the fact that your opponent can remove the creature in response, but you gotta take your chances sometimes. Fumigate, 3 white, destroy all creatures, you gain 1 life for each creature destroyed this way. Fantastic wording. If it said for each creature that died this way, this card would be terrible in this deck, because there's many times where I cast this just to be the 5 mana in Licia and board wipe. Single combat, 3 white, sorcery. Each player chooses a creature or planeswalker they control and sacrifices the rest. Players can't cast creature or planeswalker spells until the end of your next turn. This is great on an empty board, or if your opponent really values their planeswalkers highly, you'll clear the path and just be able to swing in with your commander or any other big idiot you have. If the board's empty, you can cast it to make sure there's no blocker for your creature for 2 turns. Then we have good old Merciless Eviction, 4 white. Choose one, exile all artifacts, or exile all creatures, or exile all enchantments, or exile all planeswalkers. This card's great if your opponent's playing like can't be targeted, indestructible type stuff. It scoops all that stuff off and puts it into a place where you're never gonna have to see it again in most games. Blasphemous Act, 8 and a red, sorcery. Blasphemous Act costs 1 less to cast for each creature on the battlefield. Blasphemous Act deals 13 damage to each creature. This most of the time clears up the entire board. If Licia gets big enough, you can board wipe and she'll live through it, and then you could just crunch in. If one of your creatures is holding the Sword of Sinew and Steel, it won't take any damage. And now onto anti-blowout tech. We have Boros Charm, red white, instant, choose one. Boros Charm deals 4 damage to target player. Permanents you control gain indestructible until end of turn, and target creature gains double strike until end of turn. I usually just play this for double strike, but most of the times what comes up relevant the most is permanents you control gain indestructible until end of turn. When your opponent goes to board wipe and you're just like, indestructible? Oh, I'm coming with a vengeance now. Stunning Reversal, 3 and a black, instant. The next time you lose the game this turn, instead draw 7 cards and your life total becomes 1. Exile Stunning Reversal. This is one of my favorite cards. Playing Magic on the tip of a nice edge is my favorite form of Magic because I don't know if I'll lose or win, but if I win from the jaws of defeat, that is the juiciest W you can take as a Timmy. Disrupt Decorum, 2 red, sorcery, go to all creatures you don't control. Once in a while, the game just gets out of hand and one player looks like he's gonna kill everybody. Not me. Handle the rest of these fools. A good day, sir. I said a good deck! And on to 3 cards that I consider the win con in this deck. We have Aetherflux Reservoir, 4 mana artifact. Whenever you cast a spell, you gain 1 life. For each spell you've cast this turn, pay 50 life. Aetherflux Reservoir deals 50 damage to target creature or player. Don't worry guys, I know this is like a Johnny card or a Spike card, but this is a Timmy card when you do it the fair way. We deal combat damage and we gain life, and then we just 50 people out of the universe. So like boom, boom, and then we hit the creature to send the message. And then the Timmy special, the Embercleave. 4 mana red, flash, legendary artifact equipment. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each attacking creature you control. When Embercleave enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature you control. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has double strike and trample. Equip 3. Irrelevant. This will be the blowout attack. We attack with our Licia. Hopefully it's like a 10-10. No blocks. I'm taking 10. I ain't worried. You flash in Embercleave and you kill your opponent. Call it a day. Anything else. And then last but not least, command the Dreadhorde. 4 black sorcery. Choose any number of target creatures and or planeswalker cards in your graveyard. No. Not your graveyard, any graveyard. Command the Dreadhorde deals damage to you equal to the total CMC cost of those cards. Put them onto the battlefield under your control. At that point, we should have enough life where you just choose all the creatures you want. Hopefully we get like a haste or something, or we get planeswalkers and tick up. Just get insurmountable amounts of value, and then next turn just attack for lethal, or maybe right there attack for lethal and call it a day. And now onto cards that I would say are on the chopping block. I've played this deck a few times. I've realized some issues here and there. These are just a few cards that I'm not too sure whether they should stay or get cut or replace them for something else that may help with like issues of the deck. A Johnny's Pridemate, 1 and a white. Whenever you gain life, you may put a +1/+1 counter on a Johnny's Pridemate. It's a 2/2. I'm thinking like a Danto Vanguard, or I just want a lower creature in this spot, just so I have a few more hits on Revival Revenge if I don't need a revenge. Dawn of Hope, 1 and a white. Whenever you gain life, you may pay 2. If you do, draw a card. 3 and a white. Create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. Sometimes playing 2 mana to draw a card is a little backbreaking, and then 4 mana to make a 1/1 lifelinker is also not too great. Heliod's Suncrowned, 2 and a white, legendary enchantment creature, god, indestructible. As long as your devotion to white is less than 5, Heliod isn't a creature. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature or enchantment you control. 1 and a white, another target creature you control gains lifelink. Just everything he does already, I don't really need. The +1/+1 counter seem a little irrelevant, and giving a creature lifelink that most of them already have lifelink also seems irrelevant. We have Wingmate Rock, 3 white, bird flying, raid. When Wingmate Rock enters the battlefield, if you attack this turn, create a 3/4 white bird creature token with flying. Whenever Wingmate Rock attacks, you gain 1 life for each attacking creature. It just doesn't seem like enough value. Sometimes that life isn't even relevant. It's only like 2 or 1 sometimes if Wingmate Rock's the only one left on board. Exsanguinate, X black. Each opponent loses X life. You gain life equal to life lost this way. It's a non-bow with Bolas' Citadel. And I usually only use this to ritual out my commander, which means I could probably play another lifelink creature in this spot. And then Torrent of Souls. 4 hybrid red-black sorcery. Return up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. If black was spent to cast Torrent of Souls, creatures target player control get +2/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. If red was spent to cast Torrent of Souls, the only reason I'm thinking about cutting this card is just for the fact that it's a non-bow with the with Bolas' Citadel. But sometimes casting this card and you have a bunch of things on board, it'll just pump your board up for lethal and give everything haste so you could crack in. And now on to the lands. We have Command Tower, Exotic Orchard, Battlefield Forge, Caves of Quelos, Gala Shrine, Blood Crypt, Dragonskull Summit, Clifftop Retreat, Concealed Courtyard, Ash Barrens, Evolving Wilds, Terramorphic Expanse, Temple of Silence, Temple of Triumph, Windscarred Crag, Scored Barrens, Bloodfell Caves, Nomad Outpost, and Rogue's Passage, which gives a creature unblockable for 4 mana and tap. And then we are playing 4 mountains, 7 plains, and 7 swamps. And that'll be the end of our deck tech, guys. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss out on any new Trinisphere content. And please leave a comment down below on what you think I should add for these cuts I'm thinking about. And if you're considering picking up these cards, please use our affiliate link with TCG Player so you can help out the show, helps me with budget decks, helps Shannon in the editing closet we keep him locked in, and helps Hog with his rock addiction. And remember guys, it's all about sending a message. Like Aether fluxing the creature and then your opponent.